Okay, thank you, Anne. Yep. So yeah, with regards to what is the maximum amount the insurer will pay, you're covered up to 10 million for a single claim. And if you have multiple claims in the same policy year, the total payout across those claims cannot exceed 10 million. If you've used up your 10 million insurance limit. So basically, you've seen number 1, 2, 3, and 4 parts of the insurance policy earlier. Bob might just want to step in where appropriate. But my understanding is that across number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4, your total access to those claims should not exceed 10 million. Beyond 10 million, the insurance doesn't cover. And if the 10 million insurance limit is used up, something very unfortunate happened, and then you've used up everything across all four, the policy allows it to be reset for insured events under medical indemnity only. So let's say you've used up your 10 million and then you applied emergency care in a situation, and then you injured somebody. So yeah, and then you were sued for it. So then the policy can still cover you beyond that 10 million insurance limit. I hope it makes sense. Yeah. So this limits apply individually to each insured member and it's not shared across the members. So that's a good thing. Yeah. All right, next, please. So in terms of, yeah, this is actually the most commonly claimed one. It applies to all four types of insured events that we've covered before. Um, it covers legal costs and expenses of up to 20,000 for HCPC fitness to practice investigations. But this applies specifically to you if you're talking about the work that's not carried out under the contract of service. So for instance, of work that you're not doing as an employee. So the policy has other extensions, endorsements, and exclusions, and we'll cover some of them later. But please also look into the policy for more details. Next, please.
Joanne, I'm
Yeah.
just going to jump in. And
Yep.
so,
All right. Yep.
again, so just so you know, so as well, hopefully it will never happen to you. But if it does, if you were reported to HCPC for a fitness to practice concern, we will support you. So that's the professional advisory service, and where it talks about kind of the legal costs and expenses. So that generally is for self-employed members or members who might do a bit of NHS work and then some private work. If you're a full professional member, fully employed by an institution, then Unison would provide the legal support. So just let you know that's there. And if it ever happened to you or you know somebody, please get in touch with us because we will provide ongoing support for you. Thanks, Joanne.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know why the headings are not showing up. Can we go back again, Path, just to make sure that we're on the right slide because I'm a bit confused. Okay, yeah, okay, next slide. Yeah, okay. So indemnity to principal, I think this came up in one of the questions earlier. Yes, so the indemnity to principal means that you are working as a contractor, as an associate for an organization, and a claim is made against the organization you are working for, which is the principal, because of a wrongful act committed by you, which is the insured BAOT member against a service user. So the policy will cover the organization you are working for as if the claim had been made against you. So this is particularly applicable to the occupational therapists that are working as associates, as contractors. And, one of the very common questions that we had received from the form earlier was, how does does this insurance cover associate work, or does it cover everything that we need for associate work? So specifically in terms of associate work, we have found that most of the big organizations that engage associates do have accepted this new 2025 version of the RCOT insurance. If for whatever reason you've encountered an organization that wouldn't accept that, please contact us at hello@rcot. Yep. Okay, next, please. And yes, working with animals. So this is becoming increasingly popular. So this could be a little bit confusing to some people, because when I first read the policy, I noticed that there were dogs and horses were named in the policy, but there were other animals. Apparently, all other animals are covered as well, but they're not named explicitly in the policy. The reason why dogs and horses are named explicitly in the policy is that there are specific terms and conditions for working with them. But other animals, cats, rabbits are the most common inquiries that we receive, and yes, they are covered. If you are working with some very exotic animals that are not indicated on this slide, please contact Aon, to check. Yep. Okay, next.
The use of small domestic pets is covered. We get inquiries about pigs and goats and so on and so forth. But the one thing to remember is that where we do extend the policy to cover specifically horses and dogs, we're only extending the treatment cover, not the public liability cover. So if the horse or the dog bites somebody else in the room or runs amok and causes an accident, that isn't covered. We're not looking to cover the horse owning or dog owning liability. We're looking to cover the use of horses and dogs in the provision of treatment. So that's quite specific.
Thanks, Bob. And just talking about this has really made me think, because I've been at RCOT for nearly 10 years now, and we really do try to respond to your needs and your requests regarding insurance. And this is like a perfect example. So a few years ago, we started to get more inquiries about working with horses therapeutically with people, and also therapy dogs, but it wasn't specifically mentioned. So that's kind of the work that Bob and Alex do as our brokers, to go to the insurers and say, look, this is what we would like added to our policy. Is it possible? So that really, for me as a member, it really kind of shows that the responsiveness of the insurance, and we try as much as possible to make it meet your needs as members, but we can't be super specific, because it's one insurance policy for kind of all the members. We can't differentiate between different people. So I hope that helps. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So this is again one of the common questions that came in through our Q&A form before, with regards to how our insurance covers housing OTs. There seems to be a misunderstanding on the part of some colleagues where where housing work is not covered, So I think it's very important to address this specific part of the structural survey exclusion. So it basically, housing OTs, may work, I think for the most part, there is a lot of housing work that doesn't necessarily affect parts of the building which carries load in addition to its own weight. So if you're not removing a load-bearing wall or a load-bearing part of the building, then, that's covered fine. But what if you have work that needs to affect a part of the building that carries load in addition to its own weight? So the insurance will cover you if you must obtain, insurance cover you if you have a prior written approval from a qualified architect or surveyor. If you don't have this approval, the related claims will not be covered. So we'll cover that in the next slide in a little bit more detail. We've got an example. Yeah, so for instance, if an occupational therapist is specifying and signing off plans for a level access shower room to replace an existing bathroom, and this specification can affect a part of the building that carries load in addition to its own weight. For instance, you need to remove the chimney breast to create more space in the bathroom for circulation. How could the OT ensure that they are covered under the policy, right? So this relates again to, so if you click to the next slide, this relates again to, in terms of legal in terms of certain things being what you can legally sign off and not legally sign off on. So if you have the prior written approval from a qualified architect or surveyor, then yes, you will be covered. What if you don't have a qualified architect or surveyor? Would a builder be okay? The thing is, again, if we go back to legal, what people can legally and cannot do, legally can do or cannot do, similar to what we talk about in terms of our HCPC scope of practice as an individual, can builders do legally sign off? Builders cannot, because generally speaking, most builders are not qualified to independently sign off. So the reason why why the legal aspect is very important, being able to legally sign off is important, is so that if that things go wrong, and you have that written approval to show that's already been signed off, then the insurers have a few options. They can help to defend you, or they could accept liability on behalf of you, or they could pass on liability to the architect or the surveyor. But if it was somebody who was not who cannot legally sign off on this, then essentially it is a restriction on the insurers, and that's why they don't cover this. Yep. All right. I think we'll pass on to Anne now. She will cover geographical aspects.